Let me get comfortable, yeah.
You comfortable, Frank?
Yeah, I'm comfortable.
Well, because we're live here on Google Hangouts.
Yes,
Ladies and gentlemen.
Actually, we're live from my mom's basement.
Yep, my name is Jimmy, and this is Frank down here. Frank, how's it going, buddy?
But this is the new. We finally entered the 2016.
Yep, you guys have been, a couple of our viewers on YouTube have been asking for a little bit better quality, and I think we got it, Frank. How's it going?
Now we'll get 25 views.
Yeah, I think this is how we're going to do it from now on, fellas.
The ratings are going to go through the roof like WWE.
Yeah. Frank, it's been a while.
I know. We have
we've done one of these, and a lot has gone down. A lot has gone up, and a lot has gone down. The Royal Rumble is past us. Triple H is currently the WWE champion. He won the Royal Rumble. And it's pretty clear, at least from my perspective, that they're heading into WrestleMania 32 with Triple H and Roman Reigns as the main event. I have my own reservations on that, but I'd like to get your reaction to the Royal Rumble. AJ Styles has arrived in the WWE. That was a big piece of news. What do you have to say about the Royal Rumble results and the debut of AJ Styles?
Yeah, that was a great surprise with AJ Styles. That was the highlight of the Royal Rumble. He actually saved it, and they booked him strong. He stood in there all the way, and something incredible happened. The people actually knew who he was. Could you imagine that, James?
No, absolutely, because not everyone is just stuck in the bubble of the WWE. There are plenty of organizations out there that have produced really good wrestlers. A lot of the guys that, the fans gravitate towards didn't get their start in the WWE. If you really stop and think about it, a lot of the greats of this business didn't start in the WWE. Undertaker started down in Texas. Same with Austin. He started down in WCCW. Mick Foley, he had his first match in the WWE, but he didn't become the great character that he did in the WWE. It was a combination of WCW and ECW. Nature Boy Ric Flair he was already a legend before he ever got to the WWE in 1991, at least in my estimation.
Yeah, so in my estimation, it means that they're going to have a funeral planned for AJ, because anybody that gets over on their own at WWE, they're sure to bury. And he's over. He's over. And
he's one of their highest selling merchandise guys right now with that T-shirt.
Yeah, I think
kind of similar to Samoa Joe in his first night just in NXT. His shirt was sold out overnight.
Yeah, these guys are really popular, but of course nobody supports them when they're in TNA or whatever. But anyway, he was the highlight of the night, and I didn't like the Royal Rumble. I knew Triple H was going to win. Vince McMahon gave it away in the promos a few weeks ago when he said that his son-in-law was going to get his revenge when he least expected. So we knew that was going to happen. And
my perspective on it is that now I want something to be made clear to the viewers. I am a fan of Roman Reigns, as are a lot of people. I'm not a fan of the way they book this guy. And the reason I'm not a fan of how they book him is because I know the reaction he's going to get at WrestleMania 32. Now, unfortunately, and Frank and I have mentioned this many times on our show, that there are a lot of people that will turn around and say, oh, as long as he gets a reaction, that's good. No, it's not. When you're a babyface, you are supposed to be cheered unanimously. When you are a villain, you are supposed to get booed unanimously. Too many people have become comfortable with the John Cena formula of doesn't matter if you're getting cheered or booed, as long as you're getting a reaction, that's good. No, it's not. Because when your top babyface is roundly getting booed, that's not a good thing. It has never been a good thing. And I don't see Roman Reigns coming out of WrestleMania as the champion and getting cheered out of the building. Frank, what do you have to say about that?
Well, yeah, let's talk about that. When Triple H entered, I think he got cheered. And then when they were face to face, the crowd was cheering Triple H over Reigns. Now, who's the top babyface? Supposed to be Reigns, right?
Right now, Roman Reigns is who they're going with.
And who's supposed to be the big evil guy? Triple H. Seems to me they got a reverse That was
But you notice how that changed the second Roman Reigns was eliminated and it was down to Ambrose and Triple H. Crowd was unanimously behind Dean Ambrose.
right. Oh,
But of course, Dean Ambrose is probably going to be in a meaningless match at WrestleMania 32, which is an absolute shame because now with Daniel Bryan completely gone, and while we're at it, might as well get into it, Frank. He's done. He's 150% done. Daniel Bryan is retired.
Yeah,
and it's a shame.
It is. It is. Of course, us being fans, we thought it was some kind of work. I thought it was some kind of work up until
I knew it wasn't.
Yeah, but I know. But we all held that little hope that something.
Oh, there's always hope, but I knew that there was absolutely no way it was a work. And to see his speech and to see how that affected him as a person, it made me feel terrible for him. Because, and I've said this several times since his speech, there are a lot of jerk-offs in that business. A lot of assholes that fuck people over, that ruin other people's pushes, that pull all sorts of nonsense, and he never did. He was never one of those people that played politics, tried to get someone's push killed, tried all this nonsense. He was just a guy that went out there and tried to be the very best. And when you look at the impact that he had, which one of the other things, two things that are pissing me off about his retirement, and it's not him retiring, and I'll reveal this on air. My mother's an epileptic. I've seen her take seizures. They're horrible. And this guy's been taking them. Well, the second I heard that, I said, that's it. He's got to stop.
Well, that's what he revealed, that nobody knew. And, and by the way, somebody showed a video about when he got tossed out of the ring and he was bleeding.
I saw it.
He's just selling. That wasn't a seizure that he had. Everybody thinks that's now they know everybody now.
Well, all I say is this. If everything he is saying is 100% true, because he doesn't come off as a liar to me, I'm glad he's retired, because I don't want to see him end up a vegetable, end up in a wheelchair, end up dead like Chris Benoit. I don't want to see that. Now, my father turned around and said, you're going to know if everything that's been going on is true if when his contract is up and he doesn't wrestle anywhere else. If he ends up wrestling somewhere else when his contract is up, whenever that is, you'll know it was all bullshit.
Right. Well, that's the thing. We'll take this at face value and assume everything is true. The conspiracy will be that maybe, he finally realized he was never going to ever wrestle again in a WWE ring. So he took the money, didn't burn a bridge. Everybody's got to realize his wife still works there. So,
I don't think she'll be working there much longer, especially if everything that's going on is true.
Yeah, but I'm saying right now she's there. She's going to be probably in the title match at WrestleMania. He doesn't want her to get the AJ Lee treatment while she's there. So he just said, you know what? I know they're never going to let me wrestle, and let me just do this now and leave with my head high.
Two things are pissing me off about his retirement. Number one, all of a sudden, the people that I saw shit on this guy and shit on his fans are all of a sudden saying how great he is. Now they decide to turn around and say how great of a wrestler he was, how much of an impact he had. Now all of a sudden they'll turn and say, oh, it wasn't the yes chant that was over, it was him. Now all of a sudden you say that, now that you know he's done. That pisses me off.
Well, that's a common thing. Just like, any singer or actor, when they're putting out great performances in movies or songs, they have like this cult following, and then when they die, their record sales jump through the roof because now.
And the second thing that is really pissing me off, and it's only a small handful of people, but there's a small handful of people that I'm seeing that are claiming they are happy he's retired so they don't have to deal with his fans anymore. So basically what you're saying is you're happy that a guy's livelihood was stripped away from him because you don't want to deal with the fact that he was the most over guy in the company since Steve Austin. Excuse the fuck out of me. How many years have we been waiting for someone to come along and connect with that audience? You want to know why the fans behaved the way they did when it came to him? You want to understand, because obviously with some people, common sense isn't so common. The reason the fans behaved the way that they did when it comes to Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, whatever the fuck you want to call him, is because the WWE refused to listen to their crowd. Now, what do you think the reaction would have been, Frank, just out of curiosity? Now that it's come out over a year that Bryan was never supposed to be in the main event of WrestleMania 30, what do you think the reaction to Brock Lesnar ending the streak, followed by Batista versus Orton as the main event, what do you think the reaction to that would have been?
Boo!
But how bad would that have been for them?
It would have been at WrestleMania during the main event. It would have been a disastrous. Just like that match with the crowd crapped on Randy Orton and John Cena. Remember, they were chanting every single name
except them.
Except them. They were saying end the match, and that's what would have happened at WrestleMania. I mean, listen, that's so obvious. A blind man could see that. Yeah.
But it was so obvious that Vince McMahon and his staff of writers couldn't see that. And you'll still get those people that'll say, oh, they worked the crowd. Really? They worked the crowd. So I guess CM Punk's a liar. I guess Daniel Bryan's a liar. I guess Triple H is a liar. Because all three of those guys admitted, yeah, Bryan was never supposed to be in the main event. And it really pisses me off that there are people that are happy he's retired because they don't like his fans. Well, excuse me, the fans wouldn't have to behave the way that they did if the WWE would just fucking listen. You know, you want to talk about how the fans didn't behave that way with Steve Austin. That's because when Steve Austin got fucking over, they pushed him. And they didn't go halfway with it. They went all the fucking way with it.
Right. No, well, the Yes movement that started the night after WrestleMania, Royal Rumble. That's when they went into Plan B. You don't think Batista went in there kicking things over, saying this is bullshit? You know, I didn't come back for this.
Batista himself admitted me winning the Royal Rumble and being a babyface wasn't going to work. He himself admitted that from the beginning he knew it was bad because unlike The Rock from last year, Batista knew what the reaction was going to be. The Rock looked freaking dumbfounded last year at the Royal Rumble. You know what that tells me? He doesn't pay attention to the product.
Well, maybe he doesn't watch it every day, but
I'm sorry?
I said maybe he doesn't watch it every day, but I'll never forget when he raised Roman Reigns' hand and everybody booed. He gave that look like.
Yeah, to me, that just shows me The Rock didn't pay attention to the product whatsoever.
If you go back, you could see him gritting his teeth. He was like, "Fuck!" Like this is like that's the.
Well, let me ask you a question, Frank. Who's responsible for Roman Reigns getting the heat he's been getting? Who's responsible for that? I say it's the creative process.
Of course, because what they're doing is they're giving him the Golden Boy, the Golden Boy booking. You want to call it the John Cena booking, you want to call it the Hulk Hogan booking, but at least Hulk Hogan was universally over. The fucking
yeah, but you're not supposed to use terms like universally over, Frank.
Listen,
because you can't. Apparently, in today's day and age, you're not supposed to expect the top babyface to be universally over,
right,
which I think is absolutely fucking ridiculous.
I'm saying I might not look it, but I'm a little older than I look, and I remember Hulk Hogan, 83, 84, but before his American music, his song, when he used to come out to Eye of the Tiger from Rocky III. When the first few chords of that song hit, the entire arena would stand up and go ape shit. You know
what the glass shattering with Steve Austin.
Ape shit. The same thing with Steve Austin. As soon as you hear that glass breaking, the entire arena.
Ooh, wait a minute.
Ape shit.
Same reaction to that first bit of the violin when Daniel Bryan's music hits. The whole fucking place goes nuts.
Right.
And ultimately, I'd like to get your take on it. My idea of what Daniel Bryan's legacy in pro wrestling will be is he took the mold for what a top guy should be and completely shattered it. He completely shattered the mold of what a top guy is supposed to be and what is accepted, and he proved a lot of people wrong in the aspect of Nobody looked at him as, oh, yeah, this guy's going to main event WrestleMania someday. This guy's going to be the WWE champion someday. This guy's going to be the most over guy in the business. He proved it's more than doable. And his connection with the audience, to me, is only rivaled by Steve Austin, The Rock, and Hulk Hogan. That's some pretty good company to keep. And so much so that the award for Best Technical Wrestler has now been renamed the Bryan Danielson Award. I think his legacy is going to be he's the greatest overachiever in the history of pro wrestling, and he's one of the most popular wrestlers to ever hit the business. Now, what's your take on it, Frank?
Well, like I just mentioned before, when a singer or actor or whoever dies all of a sudden tragic, not that Daniel Bryan died tragically, but his character died basically. Now he's going to be immortal. This is probably the best thing that happened to him. Now that they'll never get a chance to ruin him, to bury him, put him back in the mid card, lose his steam. He went out on top. As you saw Monday night, the whole arena was chanting yes, yes, yes. We don't know the ratings for that yet. I bet you the ratings for that was on the overrun went through the roof. And now all he has to do is sit back and wait to get inducted to the Hall of Fame whenever.
Well, you agree with me that he should be inducted in the Hall of Fame?
Oh yeah, come on. They're going to do it just because it'll be so profitable to induct him. The Hall of Fame is just a gimmick. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just another way to make money and add more profit to WrestleMania. For that.
I can tell you that all the people that ever said this guy wasn't a star. And Steve, shout out to you, Steve, on the OWN page. Anyone that has ever said that Daniel Bryan wasn't a star, and I've had morons turn around and say, he's never the kind of guy that could be on the center of the poster. He could never be the poster child. He'll never be that over. The UFC, the Seattle Seahawks, the New York Islanders, how many different sports teams and how many different athletes, how many different actors, politicians fucking reached out to this guy on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram wishing this guy well. Do you think that they fucking do that for just ham and eggers that are just flash in the pans? No, this guy was a fucking mainstream star. This guy was a big fucking deal.
For those who say that he wasn't a star or it was because of the yes chant, let's just go back to 2-3 years prior. They kept feeding this guy. They kept giving him chicken shit, and he kept turning it into chicken salad. All those gimmicks with AJ. Remember when AJ was yeah. I think that was a good segment, even though it got annoying with Dr. Shelby, whatever. But
I'll tell you what, he took those freaking segments and he made them fucking work.
He was the star of those segments. He was the star. When I'm the tag team champion, no, you're the tag team champion. That became fun. That could have been stupid. It's not. Sometimes you could give those gimmicks to anybody. It's the people that make those gimmicks good. And remember the yes chant started off as the no chant. Remember when he kept saying no, and the fans
go yes against him. Oh man.
And listen, you can't deny the guy's in ring work. Forget his size. He's the guy could go. The
guy proved he could work with pretty much anybody and have a damn good match. That guy wrestled everybody from Kevin Steen to AJ Styles to Kane to Triple H to Randy Orton, John Cena, and he beat every single one of them. Think about this, Frank. One of my favorite YouTubers put it this way. He's the Breakfast Club killer. He beat John Cena. He beat Triple H. He beat Randy Orton. He beat Batista. And in a lot of ways, he beat Vince McMahon. Because do you think for a second Vince McMahon put him in the main event of WrestleMania willingly?
Well, he didn't beat anybody. He was booked. But we say beat because his popularity and his esteem was so undeniable that they had no choice but to book him.
They had no choice. And I was so happy when he did that interview with Alternative Music. And he admitted, yeah, I was supposed to be the 6th match down. And you remember all those times on those other pages we were on.
Against Sheamus.
Yeah. And you remember all those months that me and you were on all those other pages and they were saying, oh, Jimmy, you're just bitching and moaning. He's going to get his moment. Guess what? Without all that bitching and moaning from the crowd, it wouldn't have happened. Without the bitching and moaning and CM Punk walking out, that never happens.
His moment was at SummerSlam when he beat Cena.
That was supposed to be his moment.
With the fireworks.
And that was it.
Why do you think they went all out with the fireworks and the confetti and the sparklers and all that shit? And that was supposed to be his moment. They let the fans indulge. They were like, here you go, here you go, here you go. Now, whoop, they scratched the record. Triple H gives them the pedigree, and it's over. And if you remember how they booked him after that,
his popularity could have friggin' went down with the way they booked this guy.
He was getting
the crowd wouldn't give up on him. They fell in love with the guy.
No, as a matter of fact,
that's all there is to it.
As a matter of fact,
but now we got to get into something else. As much as I love the guy, and I have no shame in saying, of today's generation, Daniel Bryan was by far my favorite wrestler. I absolutely love the guy. I feel terrible that his career was cut short the way it was. I wish him nothing. I think I speak on behalf of Frank and myself when I say I wish him nothing but the best. I hope him and his wife have a ton of healthy kids. And if he still wants to be involved in wrestling, who am I to tell him not to? If he wants to be a trainer, if he wants to be an advisor, whatever the hell it is, whatever he chooses to do in life, I support him. And I have all the respect in the world for him, because you want to know something, Frank? It takes a man to recognize when he can no longer do what he loves and to come to grips with it and to accept it. Because that's all he knows. All he knew was pro wrestling, and it was taken away from him like that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm proud of the guy for everything that he became and everything he accomplished. And as far as I'm concerned, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Well, like I said, maybe it's the best thing that happened to him, because
they don't have a chance to ruin him now.
Right, he's gold. I'm telling you, he'll come back in 5 years to make an appearance,
and he'll get the biggest pop of the night.
That's what it'll be. He could come back as a guest manager, a general manager, or whatever. They could promote him to come back and host Raw.
Now, one last question for you on the Daniel Bryan subject, and then we got to move on to WrestleMania 32. Would you be accepting of Daniel Bryan being like a Commissioner Mick Foley?
I don't know. It's a gimmick, you know. It'll get a 3-month run, you know.
I wouldn't be necessarily for that, because I think it was for him. Because I think he's like Edge in the aspect of, if I can't wrestle, I don't even want to be around the business. I think that's going to be his attitude. I know I've seen some people throw the idea around, so I just wanted your perspective. Me, I'm honestly not for it.
Listen, they could try, you know, and maybe something will come out of it, you know. Maybe a popular segment will come out of it, but just look at every person who's tried to do that. They'll get a 2-3 month run. It'll get boring.
Mick Foley did a really good job.
Who's that?
Mick Foley did a very good job as commissioner.
Yeah, but I'm saying they can't go on forever. It's an angle.
Of course not. Of course not.
It's a guest appearance. It's a guest starring.
See, now if I was him, and if like let's say for argument's sake they wanted to do that, Bryan would only have to work once a week, because he would only have to do television, and that's it.
And if I was him, I would make sure it's something good. You don't want to just come back and do anything.
I would love to, honestly, as much as I wouldn't be for the idea, because I would feel sorry for him to have to be around the wrestling and not be able to do it. It would be interesting to see him as the foil for the authority. Like, you know, they try to do something, but then he counteracts them and says, "Nope, that's not happening."
Right. Like, yeah, I know you used to do that to me, but you're not going to get away with it.
You're not getting away with it with me around.
Now they could have another pick of special guest referee. They don't have to use Shawn Michaels every year.
No, they don't. Now we got to get into WrestleMania.
The fans respect Shawn Michaels.
Well, before we move on, cheers to Daniel Bryan. Long life to the man.
Yeah.
Salute. Gave us a lot of good matches, a lot of great matches, and a lot of great moments. Now we got to get on to WrestleMania 32. Can't cry forever. It's not looking good, Frank.
Well, before we go on, remember last year the build-up was terrible. I mean, I remember like the next to the last go home show was horrible, you know. But they surprised us, and maybe they'll surprise us again. The main event, it's too plain. It's too predictable, man. It's too black and white. We know Reigns.
What I think is that the main event, I think that the main event is not setting the tone as it should for the WrestleMania to come. Because to me, Triple H versus Roman Reigns does not feel like a WrestleMania main event. It just doesn't.
No, because we've seen it before. Forget Roman Reigns. We've seen it. It's the Golden Boy going up against the top heel. We know how that's gonna end. Now
it ends one way, and that's what the spirit
hold on. What I think could happen is maybe there might be Dean Ambrose heel turn,
which would be the dumbest thing they could possibly do,
right?
And will not help.
God forbid they make Roman Reigns the heel.
If they turn Dean Ambrose heel, that is the ultimate slap in the face to the fans, because he is, with Daniel Bryan gone, as much as I dislike Dean Ambrose as a person, them turning Dean Ambrose heel is the biggest slap in the face to the audience, because he's the most popular guy they have.
And you know what? It won't work because the fans will cheer him maybe even stronger.
They'll just cheer him even louder.
Right. They'll cheer him even stronger. If I could imagine him pulling a swerve and screwing Roman Reigns, the crowd will go nuts and they'll say, "Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Dean." You know that would happen.
We're in this cockeyed friggin' era where it's okay for the fans to boo the hero and cheer the villain. And I just don't understand how that works. When the fans cheer you, you're the hero. When they boo you, you're the villain. It's that simple. What is so goddamn complicated?
Oh, James, you heard Vince. The day of good guy versus bad guy is passé. We don't want to insult your intelligence. But meanwhile, they insult our fucking intelligence every fucking week. Every segment, they insult our fucking intelligence.
The only reason I watched Raw last week was to see Daniel Bryan's retirement segment.
Of course.
That was it. And I went 32 fucking weeks without even bothering to watch Monday Night Raw.
This is a good segue for the ratings. I like you, I couldn't even watch Raw anymore. Not even on DVR. I actually started watching about 3 weeks ago. I think when The Rock came back. That was a good show. I watched it straight through on DVR, fast forward commercials. I watched it next week. Boom. Disappointed again. And this week, I watched it for Daniel Bryan, of course. But to all those people who say, "Oh, the ratings are back. The ratings are back." No, the ratings aren't back. You got high ratings as The Rock, Brock Lesnar, and Daniel Bryan. And the first show of the year.
Guys that aren't around.
Yeah, the first show of the year. The first row of the year when Roman Reigns won, that was because of Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon put that over because Mr. McMahon, the character, he's always gonna be evil, and people are gonna tune in to see that. It's intriguing to watch.
You want to know what the difference is between Vince McMahon as a character and Stephanie and Triple H? Vince McMahon is willing to make himself look like a complete idiot to get the storyline across. Stephanie very rarely, if ever, lets anyone get over on her. She gets over on everybody with no repercussions whatsoever, and that's why, as a character, I can't stand her. She's the absolute worst. She's the absolute worst.
My daddy says.
But no, anyone that wants to make an excuse for the ratings, give me a break. No other show that's high on the fucking ratings has to make any excuses for people not watching television, because that's what Vince's excuse is. Oh, people don't watch as much television. Really?
Oh, yeah.
Can you say that about football? Can you say that about the UFC? Can you say that about baseball? Can you say that about hockey? Can you say that about all these other shows that are kicking the WWE's ass in the ratings? I love the mentality of Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman has always told Vince, you should be afraid of any show that's going to take viewers away from you and take money out of your pocket. Isn't that business 101?
Yeah. And I guess all these shows every season that go to the graveyard and get canceled, I guess that's because ratings don't matter.
Oh, ratings don't matter. You know what's funny? Years ago, like around 2006, 2007, when I really started to first hate John Cena, because once upon a time, viewers, I actually did like the guy because I didn't feel like his character was an insult to my intelligence like he is now. I used to be told, oh, if you want things to change, you have to wait for the ratings to drop low enough. Well, Here it is, 2016. The ratings are starting to get down to the 2.1s.
Listen, right now, Raw's ratings, the steady average is in the low twos. The low twos. They pop a little bit to the low threes, mid threes, whenever the part-timers come back. And the part-timers that everybody hates. Oh, The Rock, he's taking away a spot from the young guys.
But you know what's funny?
Lesnar.
But you know what's funny, Frank? The WWE has devalued these guys so much that they're only able to draw mid threes. When did you ever think they would devalue Brock Lesnar? And by the way, no one even wants to talk about this. Jesus Christ Almighty, isn't Brock the 1 in 21-1? What a fucking waste!
Each of these guys
turned out to be, and I need to go off on this, Frank.
Yeah.
What a waste that streak ending ended up being. What a fucking waste! You take a guy in Brock Lesnar, you have him beat The Undertaker. Was he making more television appearances? No. Has he been helping establish new top talent? No. Is he bringing more eyeballs to the product? No. So what did breaking the streak with Brock Lesnar accomplish? Now, granted, I would have never broke the streak because I think Mark Calloway deserved to retire undefeated. But if you put a gun to my head and said, all right, you got to pick somebody at WrestleMania 30, someone's got to break it, fine, Bray Wyatt. Now, I just can't seem to understand, and maybe, Frank, you could help me elaborate on this, because maybe I'm just fucking crazy like everyone says I am. Since Brock Lesnar has not brought more eyeballs to the product, has not helped make any new stars, has not been more of an on-air character, and is basically the same guy he was when he first came back in 2012, is it safe to say that ending the streak with Brock Lesnar was ultimately a complete waste?
No, I don't think it was a waste because the whole streak and Brock Lesnar winning, that's being put on a silver platter for Roman Reigns. So when Roman Reigns nobody's pinned Brock Lesnar since the streak. Roman Reigns will be the first guy to pin Brock Lesnar.
You're not hearing me.
What?
Because when Roman Reigns beats Brock Lesnar in the fashion that he's going to with the way he is now, it accomplishes nothing.
No. That's what they're going to promote it. That Roman Reigns pinned Brock Lesnar, the Beast, the guy who beat the streak. Nobody's pinned Brock Lesnar. You notice nobody's pinned Brock Lesnar since he's defeated the Undertaker. You know why? Because to keep that strong. And Roman Reigns is going to be the guy who's going to get coronated. That's going to be the passing of the torch. I'm telling you, they're gonna promote that so much and say Roman Reigns is the man. He beat Brock Lesnar in the middle of the ring, the guy who beat the Undertaker.
I feel absolutely terrible for Roman Reigns because they're not doing this kid any favors by forcing him. They're doing him absolutely no favors whatsoever. And I just don't understand how people can continue to just
Are you there?
Triple H at WrestleMania with the to be more over as a result. Now, if you take a heel Roman Reigns and you have him as the WWE champion beat Brock Lesnar clean to then at WrestleMania 33 put somebody else over to help establish them, now you're getting mileage out of that.
Yeah, well, that's what that streak is. That streak is going to serve. Ending the streak is going to serve for years and years and years. Everybody who beats that guy is going to get the rub. So Roman Reigns is going to get the rub for beating Brock Lesnar, and then eventually somebody will get the rub for beating Roman Reigns.
I think that the best way for Roman Reigns to benefit is now. Our friend Larry came up with an excellent scenario, and I'd like to present it here on the show, if that's all right with you, Frank.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think of this. This may take like 5 minutes.
Go ahead.
All right. At the three-way, Roman Reigns wins the three-way. You hear? You with me so far?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right. He pins Dean Ambrose, but Dean Ambrose's foot is on the bottom rope. All right. Triple H comes out and says, all right, in the interest of fairness, since Dean Ambrose's foot was on the ropes, guess what, Dean? I'm going to throw you a bone. If you could win your match tonight, you're in the WrestleMania main event along with me and Roman Reigns. Now, I'm sure you're asking yourself, why would Triple H do that? He's putting himself in a position where now he has to fight two guys instead of one. Well, after Dean Ambrose qualifies, he's going to turn around and say, all right, guess what, Dean? You're not allowed to pin me. You can only pin Roman Reigns.
Well, that's what's going to happen anyway.
Teasing dissension in the ranks. Now, what happens at WrestleMania is this. It is a three-way. Dean Ambrose versus Roman Reigns versus Triple H. This is how it goes. They annihilate Triple H at the very beginning, Shield style, powerbomb through the table, whatever, however they want to do it. Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns duke it out. Triple H comes back in here and there. At the very end, Triple H comes in and hammers Dean Ambrose with a sledgehammer. He looks at Roman Reigns looks at Triple H, and Triple H hands the sledgehammer to Roman Reigns, to which he takes that sledgehammer and waffles Dean Ambrose in the head, gets the cover. Roman Reigns joins Triple H, becomes WWE champion, and Roman Reigns goes on to SummerSlam to do what you said he's going to do, which is fight Brock Lesnar and beat him. But he will beat Brock Lesnar as a villain, and he will do it clean.
Yeah, no, that won't happen. That's not a snowball's chance in hell of happening.
But I'm presenting Larry's story because I think it's
that's great. But
now let me finish. I'm almost done here. What else happens? What else is supposed to happen during the summertime? Seth Rollins is supposed to return. What do you think Seth Rollins is going to want?
Oh, he's going to want revenge on Triple H.
Oh, he has no reason to hate Triple H. He's going to want his belt back. So that's when you make the main event of Survivor Series, because I would save it till then, Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins with Triple H as the special guest referee. Because remember, he was behind Seth Rollins, and now he's behind Roman Reigns. So what he's going to turn around and say is this: listen, I think you are both awesome. So I'm going to call the match down the middle, and whoever wins is who I'm going to back. But what is Survivor Series known for?
What do you mean? I don't know. Can't tell me. What are you thinking? Oh, oh, yeah. Okay.
So Triple H, being Triple H, pedigrees Seth Rollins. Roman Reigns gets the win. Then at the Royal Rumble, Seth Rollins challenges Triple H to a match. And the stipulation is, and I thought Larry was brilliant when he came up with this. He says, all right, Seth Rollins turns around and says, okay, H, if you beat me, I will never challenge for the WWE Championship again so long as Roman Reigns is the champion. But if I win, I am the #1 contender. Triple H agrees. Triple H does the job for Seth Rollins. But in that same night, Dean Ambrose wins the Royal Rumble. You see what we're setting up here?
Yeah, I know.
WrestleMania 33. Roman Reigns is the champion. Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose.
The Shield triple threat.
Yes, it is. Now, Triple H, obviously he's backing Roman Reigns. He wants to make himself the referee in that match. But because the WWE corporate is so invested in WrestleMania, the board of directors comes down on the authority and says, listen, we can't have this match, which is a potentially money-making match for us, to be tarnished by controversy. So we have appointed a special guest referee for this match. And who do they appoint as the special guest referee for this Shield three-way? Stone Cold Steve Austin.
The sheriff, yes.
You have him as the referee. Now, think about what you have here. You have possibly the hottest bad guy in the company, Roman Reigns. You have the new returning Seth Rollins, who's coming off beating Triple H. And you have the Royal Rumble winner, Dean Ambrose, who's probably the most over guy in the company. And you've got the greatest of all time, Stone Cold Steve Austin, as the special referee in this match. It's a win-win-win situation, no matter who wins that match. Because all three of them are taken seriously. You can't decide who's going to win. You think, oh, Seth Rollins just came back from injury. He's going to win. You keep thinking, oh, Roman Reigns, he beat Brock Lesnar clean. He's going to crush these guys. Or you keep thinking Dean Ambrose won the Royal Rumble. He's got to come away with the title. So there's no clear-cut answer of who's going to win.
I think that's going to happen. Everything that you said, only that the characters are going to be having different roles. I think Rollins comes back as a babyface because he's going to get cheered, and he's going to want revenge against the Authority for always trying to fuck him and stack the deck against him. I don't think, as much as we want, they're never going to turn Roman Reigns heel. Never.
I think that the money in him is him as a heel, and the money in Rollins is him as a babyface.
The money in Cena turning heel has been going on for 5-6 years, and they're never going to do that. Roman Reigns is the heir apparent to John Cena.
But they don't have the same excuses with. I don't see a ton of kids. I don't see a ton of that Make-A-Wish shit with Roman Reigns. I don't see his T-shirt sales going through the roof.
Not yet.
Roman Reigns and John Cena are actually number 4, 5, 6, or 7 in merchandise right now. You know who the top guys are right now?
Who is that?
Kevin Owens,
AJ,
and Dean Ambrose.
And probably Samoa Joe, right? Somewhere in there.
I don't know if Samoa Joe's up there, but I know those 3 are. Everyone that's been throwing the merchandise thing in my face when it comes to Cena, there's your fucking proof.
I only say this because we know how WWE works, and if you listen closely to the little tidbits they drop, they're trying to get Stephanie McMahon was trying to rub it into Dean Ambrose on Monday when she said, "Oh, every time you step up, Roman Reigns is always there to steal your spotlight." You noticed that when she said that.
I can't stand the fact that they're actually going to turn Dean Ambrose, who's their most popular guy, heel, just to prove a point, which proves no point.
Of course, right now he's been Roman Reigns' shield. You notice wherever Roman Reigns goes, Dean Ambrose is there, so Roman Reigns doesn't get booed. But again, we go back. Dean Ambrose is going to get cheered as a heel, and Roman.
No matter what they do, the fans are still going to cheer for Dean Ambrose, and they're still going to boo Roman Reigns. And I say this as a fan of Roman Reigns: you're doing the guy no favors by giving him the Cena booking. You're just not. And when I say Cena booking, I mean this: he always wins. He never loses clean, and he's the only guy made to look important.
And not only that, he's always protected. If anybody gets the upper hand on him, it's always because he's distracted or whatever, and he always beats up four people at once. It's him against the world. He beats everybody up.
They're not doing him any favors. And like you said earlier, a blind guy could see that.
Well,
but that's not the only match going on at WrestleMania. We also got The Undertaker. What the fuck are they going to do with The Undertaker? My spider senses are telling me he's fighting Kevin Owens.
Yeah, that would be the right thing to do. I think Kevin Owens is legit, and he could stand in there, and it would give him a push. Of course, The Undertaker is not going to lose. I think he doesn't lose his potential last match. I don't care who it is. But you never know. Maybe your buddy John Cena might come back in record time and go up against The Undertaker. But relax. I think even if he does go up against The Undertaker, I think Cena loses. I don't care if you get Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan from the 80s. They will not beat The Undertaker in his last match at WrestleMania. It will not happen.
If they actually have John Cena beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania, I don't know what I'll do. Because that would be the absolute stupidest thing you could possibly do. I don't care what anybody says, what numbers they try to throw in my face. John Cena is not an equal to The Undertaker in any way, shape, or form. Not in terms of a character, not in terms of a worker, not in terms of an overall man for the business. Because unlike John Cena, The Undertaker, over a 25-year period, has had the ability to adapt and to change his character. He has not done the same old thing. Even though he is still the same old Undertaker, he has been able to adapt and adjust. I can't seem to recall The Undertaker ever getting booed out of a building, even as a villain.
Maybe in 1991, after he buried the Ultimate Warrior, maybe.
Maybe, possibly. But I'll tell you this, when he fought the immortal Hulk Hogan in Detroit and won the WWF Championship, he was cheered when he beat Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, because people were starting to get tired of Hulk Hogan too. See, remember when
I think it was a combination of two things. It was a combination of the fans getting sick of Hogan and a combination of the fans just getting behind The Undertaker because he was a cool character.
Right, listen, remember what I said at the beginning of the video? 83, 84, the crowd would go apeshit. That happened until 87, 88, and then everybody started seeing the same old shit. Hulk Hogan gets beat up by a big bad guy. He's hurt. He's getting beat up then in the match.
The last 2 minutes, he hulks up, big boot, leg drop, and it's over.
You could throw a fucking safe off a 20-story building on his head. He'll hulk up. 1, 2, 3, leg drop, over. And it's same
now,
old.
Frank, I ask you a question as a guy that lived the Hulkamania era. If the fans are allowed to get tired of Hulk Hogan, why are they not allowed to be tired of John Cena?
No, they are.
No, but I want to understand the logic of the apologists who say that the crowd shouldn't act the way they do. If they were able to get sick of Hulk Hogan, why are they not allowed to get sick of this guy?
They are sick of it. You could just spin it. They just keep spinning it, you know.
But I'm asking you, based on your perspective of how the apologists try to spin things, why are they not allowed to be tired of this guy?
Because he's booked to be that guy. Oh, he does this. He sells merch. He does that. The people have been tired of him since fucking 2006. 2006. They scream that they hate him. They boo him, and it's like, why do you think they chose Daniel Bryan? They just didn't want to see John Cena anymore.
I think that the whole thing with him also it wasn't just that people loved Daniel Bryan. It was also that they were just tired of the same old fucking names, the same old faces, constantly being shoved in their faces every fucking week. I'm sorry. The Undertaker, John Cena, Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, Triple H, The Rock.
The Big Show.
What do you do? Big Show, Kane, Mark Henry. Let me ask you a question, Frank, and this is where we're probably going to put it to an end. I asked this question. What are they going to do when all the guys I just named are no longer an option?
You beats me. Maybe they'll wheel out Vince McMahon's corpse.
Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. John Cena, Randy Orton, The Undertaker, Triple H, Brock Lesnar, and The Rock. These are 6 names that they live and die by still in 2016. What do you do when those men are no longer an option? Do you finally build up Bray Wyatt and not fucking annihilate him like they're going to do at WrestleMania this year? I dread that match with Brock Lesnar. Bray Wyatt's not going to be more over by just working with Brock Lesnar. Yeah, like Bray Wyatt was better off working with The Undertaker, right? Like he was better off working with Cena, right? Because that did him a whole shit ton of favors, right? Get the fuck out of here. It did him absolutely no favors. And I worship the ground that Mark Calloway walks on. But Bray Wyatt working with The Undertaker didn't do diddly shit for him. And getting his ass kicked by Cena didn't do diddly shit for him. And I feel terrible for him.
He's always booked in these can't-win scenarios.
No, and that's my biggest issue with today's product is that they don't give these kids a chance to shine. They don't give these kids a chance like back in the 80s. Nobody could tell Dick Murdoch how to talk like Dick Murdoch. Nobody could tell Ric Flair how to talk like Ric Flair. Nobody could tell Dusty Rhodes how to cut a promo like the American Dream. Nobody could tell the Macho Man Randy Savage how to cut a promo like the Macho Man. Nobody could tell Hulk Hogan how to go out there and cut the promos he used to cut.
Right. They just got bullet points, and that's it.
Yeah, you're fighting this guy. This is when it's happening. It's for this title, for that title, it's for this reason, and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was even listening to a shoot interview with Paul Bearer with Jim Cornette, a couple days ago, and he was saying, me and the Undertaker stuff was never scripted. We came up with our own shit, and don't get me wrong, Taker's not going to go down as the greatest stick guy in the business. His promos were more than passable. His promos got the point across.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense, the Austin 316 didn't come from a scriptwriter. Smell What the Rock is Cooking didn't come from a scriptwriter. Have a Nice Day didn't come from a scriptwriter. Came from their heart and their guts. And when these guys are sitting in front of a camera and they're just, You could tell that they're just trying to memorize lines that they saw on a piece of paper. Why would anyone believe them? And now I get to the booking of these characters. How the hell could anybody take Bray Wyatt seriously when anytime he's in a big match, he loses? How could anyone expect him to have the impact that The Undertaker had if he's not given the same type of booking in which he wins a lot of the big matches? When he loses, it means something. You know, think about this. Bray Wyatt went, and this still pisses me off because to me it was a waste. Bray Wyatt went from beating the most popular guy in the business since Stone Cold in Daniel Bryan. Beat him clean as a bell. Then the next month, beat the Shield 100% clean. No excuses, no interference, no hijinks, shenanigans, or bullshit.
I think he's the last guy the only guy to pin Roman Reigns. I think he's definitely the last guy to pin Roman Reigns.
He's the only guy to ever pin Roman Reigns clean. And then what happened the next month, Frank? He couldn't beat John Cena in a glorified 3-on-1 handicap match. And then the next month, he couldn't beat him in a glorified 3-on-1 steel cage match. It took a kid singing in a gargled voice in order for him to win. And then at Payback, oh, that wonderful ending. And then everybody wonders why he still hasn't gotten back up. And no, I'm not going to excuse The Undertaker from this either. Bray Wyatt losing to The Undertaker served no fucking purpose for him. Would The Undertaker have been as impactful if he lost to Jake the Snake Roberts? If he lost to Jimmy Superfly Snuka? No. The Undertaker was a big deal early in his career because all those big matches he was in, he won. And when he lost, he was protected. The two key losses The Undertaker suffered was once against Hulk Hogan at Tuesday in Texas, and even Hulk Hogan didn't hit him with the boot and the leg drop. It was ashes to the eyes and a roll-up.
Right. It wasn't clean.
No. And when he lost to Yokozuna in the casket match, it took 10 guys to stick him in there.
It wasn't clean.
Yeah, it wasn't clean. How could anybody expect Bray Wyatt as a character to have the same impact of The Undertaker and lose all the big matches? To me, that makes no fucking sense. Then we get to Kevin Owens. Now we get to Kevin Owens. I'm supposed to believe he could beat The Undertaker when he couldn't beat Dolph Ziggler on Raw. You kidding me, right? You kidding me? He's going to retire The Undertaker, and he couldn't beat Dolph Ziggler, who I have completely given up on.
See, that's why I don't think even Owens is going to go face Undertaker. They haven't been building him up. That's the telltale sign. They usually build somebody up to face the Undertaker. He lost 2 straight to Dolph Ziggler on TV, who's been basically.
Oh, it was 2 now.
He lost Monday night. Ziggler rolled him up and grabbed the tights, and Kevin Owens.
And the best part was, I was listening to my favorite podcast, which is the Solomon's The Sounds Off, and my favorite YouTube show, OTRS Central. Yes, giving both of them a shout out. You guys should check them out. They're fucking awesome. Road Dogg apparently was on Twitter with this kid, and he said, wins and losses don't count, only your character counts.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe.
That made me fucking laugh. And you want to know why it made me laugh, ladies and gentlemen? I'll tell you why.
Okay, how come Roman Reigns doesn't lose?
You just basically took the words out of my mouth. If wins and losses don't matter, why does John Cena win most of his matches? Why does Roman Reigns win most of his matches? Why does Brock Lesnar win most of his matches? Why, if wins and losses don't matter, were so many fucking people upset when The Undertaker lost at WrestleMania 30?
Maybe it wouldn't matter if Heath Slater made Brock Lesnar submit.
Yeah, if wins and losses don't matter and characters are so fucking important, then all these guys could lose and it won't matter. I'll tell you why wins and losses matter. Because it gives them credibility. And why does credibility matter? Because then you don't believe they can be beaten. Now imagine, Frank, in this fantasy world that I apparently live in, that I believe Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Bray Wyatt, Kevin Owens, AJ Styles should all be booked like they fucking matter. That's how I see it. And you could even throw Ryback in there. All these guys should be booked like they fucking matter. So that way when they do fight each other, There's no clear cut, oh, yeah, this guy's definitely going to win. No. Back in the day, when Rock and Austin were fighting, you didn't know who the fuck was going to win. When The Undertaker and Stone Cold fought, you didn't know who the fuck was going to win. When Triple H and The Rock fought, you didn't know who the fuck was going to win because they were all on equal footing. When Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle were wrestling each other, you didn't know who the fuck was going to win. When Triple H and Shawn Michaels would fight, you didn't know who the fuck was going to win. You know why I'm saying all this? Because all those guys were equal to each other. Right. Today, if you're not a fan of Roman Reigns, John Cena, or Brock Lesnar, you have zero chance of seeing that any of those other guys built up properly. Because I look at a guy that I don't like in Dean Ambrose, and I see the fucking pops this guy gets, and I say to myself, why are they not putting the rocket ship on this guy's back? It's so clear that he's over. I'm a fan of Roman Reigns, and I could see fucking Ray Charles could see, clear as day. Him as a babyface just ain't fucking working. You know, imagine if the WWF back in the 90s kept Steve Austin as the villain and kept pushing Rocky Maivia. I think we'd be watching WCW right now instead of Raw.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, and nobody, the true marks, and yes, I am going to stoop to that level now because I'm sick and tired of that shit being thrown my way because I use my fucking brain. The true marks of wrestling, to me, are the ones that eat with their spoon-fed, don't use any cognitive thinking, and just lick the WWE's balls. To me, those are the true marks. And those are the guys that the WWE laughs at the most because they buy into their bullshit. Who's the bigger fool? The fool or the fool who follows?
The fool who follows.
Damn fucking right. Obi-Wan fucking Kenobi said that shit. And I believe it. It's just, to me, it's absolutely astounding how people can excuse that no top-level stars were made in 2015. It was an all-time low in terms of ratings. You have to go back to 1995 to find ratings this bad. That's pathetic. I don't care what your excuses are. Injuries, football, guess what? That's not a fucking excuse. The fact that John Cena and Randy Orton are out injured, that shouldn't even affect you in 2016 because you should have already made guys to take their place. But because you're too focused on feeding the Breakfast Club and you're so focused on featuring the guys that Vince is all, you know, gaga over because they have a certain look, you haven't made any new stars. You had an opportunity to make Bray Wyatt. You didn't do it. You had an opportunity to make Seth Rollins a legitimate threat. You didn't do it. And now that poor fucking guy's out injured. You had a chance to take fucking Dean Ambrose and make him a top-level star. Think about this for a second, Frank. Dean Ambrose was the most popular guy out of all three guys in the Shield when they broke up. He is yet to win the WWE Championship.
Yep. And what about all those people who complain about the part-timers and the legends coming back and never defending the title on Raw? Where are they now? Triple H ain't defending that shit until WrestleMania. You're going to go 2 months without the WWE belt being defended. At least Brock Lesnar defended it on pay-per-view.
To me, Triple H versus Roman Reigns is a clear-cut sign of we don't give a shit what you people want. We're going to do what we want. And you want to know something, Frank? They deserve what they get because they ain't going to sell 100,000 seats on that main event.
No, maybe they will, but
Triple H versus Roman Reigns is not going to sell 100,000 tickets. It is not. Roman Reigns is not a big enough star to sell that many tickets, and Triple H was never that big of a star. Triple H always was what he accused Daniel Bryan of being on television, a B-plus player. Because if you really stop and think about it, does Triple H really ever get mentioned in that group of guys? You know, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, The Undertaker, Steve Austin, The Rock, the real tippy-top guys of pro wrestling. Does Triple H ever really get mentioned in with those guys other than in the WWE scripted promos? No. Triple H was always the guy that worked with the guy that drew the money. Jim Cornette has said that many times, and it's the truth.
In the game of life, he's an A player, though. He's going to wind up being probably the co-owner of the WWE one day.
Oh, listen, listen, in terms of what Triple H does as a businessman, I love it. I love NXT. I never miss an episode of NXT. The two shows I cannot miss, and I will eventually start reviewing them on this show, and I would love for you to give them a shot, is NXT and Lucha Underground. I absolutely love both shows. I never come away from either one of those shows feeling unsatisfied. And you want to know one of the things I think contributes to that? It ain't 3 hours. It's not dragging on and on and on and on with 1,000 fucking commercials with items I'm never going to buy. And I don't feel
one long commercial.
And I don't feel, yes, I agree, Raw is basically an entire commercial. I don't feel when I watch NXT and Lucha Underground like I've wasted my time. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I'm going to fill yous in. The autographs are gone. I have no autographs up anymore. I took them all down. I only have my championships up because I think they're an excellent fucking display item. I think they're all great display items, and that's why I keep them up. Plus, also, I love those things. But all my autographs are gone. All my cased action figures that were still in the box that have high value, I put them away because I couldn't stand it anymore. The thing I enjoyed the most was becoming something I hated the most. That's why I stopped watching Monday Night Raw 32 weeks ago. And the only thing that made me watch last Monday was to say goodbye to my favorite wrestler. And when The Undertaker retires, I'm going to have a very difficult reason to continue to even have any interest in it because I don't have any faith in this company that they're going to take Kevin Owens and make him a big deal, even though he could arguably be one of their biggest moneymakers. He was making six figures on the independents. That's not because of cult following. It's because the guy's fucking good at his job. You know, Finn Balor's a friggin' international sensation. I don't have any faith that they're going to do the right thing with him. Because as long as Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn are in charge of that fucking company and Stephanie McMahon still has 32 fucking Hollywood scriptwriters writing the show, I have no faith in them. Look at the way Triple H conducts NXT. It's 1 hour, 3 or 4 people write that show, and that's it.
Right.
You don't need 3 hours.
I know. But listen, Raw is corporate run. Well, and NXT is corporate run, but they have to.
Well, Triple H has already revealed that was a Vince McMahon decision. They could cut it back to 2 hours anytime they want.
Well, then they're going to do it soon because you have no choice. Even though they get
ridiculous, the 32 script writers are ridiculous, and overly scripting these guys is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, my friend Rich was telling me today at work, you know, we shit on the brand split, but when we had it, these guys weren't so overexposed. Because that does play a part. Overexposure does play a part.
Right. You mentioned before those 5 guys who they should build, or 6. Not only that, they should build them. Those guys should never come into contact with each other.
Exactly. Exactly. Those guys should not be fighting each other. They should be kept as far away from each other as possible. So that way when they
on the same team anywhere, they should never.
So that way when they do meet, it means something.
Right.
Whenever The Undertaker and Stone Cold would fight each other, it meant something.
Right.
Whenever The Rock and Triple H would fight, it meant something. Why would it mean something if we could see it every fucking Monday? How many times have we seen Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt touch? Too many times to count. Why do you think people were going apeshit when the Shield and the Wyatts finally went at it? Because they were kept as far away from each other as possible. So when they finally did meet, it meant something.
And they usually pulled off good matches. Great matches.
Oh, absolutely. I look at and as much as I loved watching Daniel Bryan beat Triple H, and as much as I salivated over seeing him win the title, to me, the greatest match of 2014 was the Shield and the Wyatts from Elimination Chamber.
Definitely.
I mean, and this is how we'll finish it, because I do want to talk about this match, because to me, and I don't use this term a lot, but that match was beautiful. From the video package to the promos that they were cutting on each other, to the way the announcers actually called the match, they called wrestling.
Yeah.
Think about this. They referenced how Luke Harper is similar to Bruiser Brody. I love that shit.
Did they say that?
Yes, they did.
He is. He looks just like
Eric Rowan was taking his 2 fists and trying to squeeze Dean Ambrose's head. Sergeant Slaughter used to do that, and they fucking referenced that. They mentioned how Luke Harper and Eric Rowan are likening to Bruiser Brody and Stan the Lariat Hansen.
Right.
I love that shit.
Listen,
and
you got great workers involved in the match. You got great characters.
And that was arguably Roman Reigns' greatest performance.
And they're given the green light to go out there and
throw down.
Right.
You know, and everyone looked good in this match. And I'm not a fan of Eric Rowan because I think he sucks. But in that match, he shined. And Luke Harper, another guy that I think they could do a lot of great shit with because he's a good promo. He's a damn good worker for a man his size. Excellent. And Dean Ambrose, I can't say enough about his talent. You know, I may not like him as a guy, as a person, but I'm not going to deny his talent. Everyone knows I like Roman Reigns. That was his best performance in my eyes. Aside from the match he had with Bryan in Fastlane, which was arguably his greatest singles match when considering his opponent. How could he not? And Seth Rollins, can't say enough about his athleticism in that match. You know, to anyone that's watching, if you haven't seen that match, which I don't know why you wouldn't have, get on that network and watch that fucking match. Elimination Chamber 2014, The Shield versus the Wyatt family. I mean, if you want to get somebody into pro wrestling that's never seen it before, show them that match. And if that match doesn't get them into wrestling, nothing will.
James, not to mention that they still hold Seth Rollins back. They take away some of his moves. They hold him back.
Do that with everybody, though. And that's a shame. Because when the Macho Man Randy Savage came into the WWF, you know how many moves they took away from him? You know how many things about his promos they took away from him? Nothing. They took nothing from him. Now, let's go to the opposite. When Stone Cold Steve Austin came into the WWF, they took away his promos and they took away his attitude. But the second they gave it back to him, what did he become? Stone Cold said it. If you take away my personality, I'm dead. If you let me be myself, I'll run with it. And I can compete with anyone you put in front of me.
He was muted. He was muted when he first came in.
It was ridiculous. They took away his promo skills. They took away his in-ring skills. They just made him a generic mechanic. And it was ridiculous. Because for whatever reason, Vince McMahon has always had this mindset that if somebody else made it, I can't use it. I have to use what I made.
Right.
And that is a dumb shit fucking mindset. That's like the Mets taking somebody from the Yankees who was a damn good hitter and trying to suppress him in a smaller role. No. If the Mets get somebody who was a good fucking bat, they're gonna put him at the front of the lineup.
Right. It's
right
like,
or wrong, Frank?
Right. It's like you get A-Rod in his prime, and all of a sudden now you bat him eighth.
Why the fuck would you do that? Exactly.
And no matter how many home runs he keeps hitting, you keep putting him eighth.
I mean, when the Mets got Cespedes, where did they put him on the lineup? Fourth or fifth?
Fourth.
He was fourth. They weren't going to put him all the way in the back of the lineup just because he didn't get hot with them. No, they were going to use him because he's a good bat. The fuck? It's called applying common sense. But what most people don't understand, and I've tried to explain this to my dad, I've tried to explain this to a lot of people I've had the discussion with. Vince McMahon is not all about the money. What he's all about is his ego. He cares more about his ego than his pocketbook.
Right.
And the proof I have of that is Shane McMahon had to literally verbally fight his father in order to get them to go edgy in 97. He literally, and you know, a couple people have documented this. He says there were many times they would pass by that office and Shane would be screaming at his dad, "Dad, we're going to lose everything if we don't catch up with the fucking times."
His son, it took the Click having private meetings with him in his hotel room.
You know, so anyone that says that Vince McMahon should never be questioned, plenty of people have questioned him, and that's how you got the Attitude Era. Vince didn't want to fucking do that. He was willing to go down with his ship and stay family friendly. And the proof is in the pudding because that's what he's doing now. And the ratings are exactly where they were back in 95.
Well, today it is a more politically correct world, you know. I don't think you could get away with half the stuff you did back then.
But see, the thing is this, Frank. I don't want 10,000 table spots in a night. I don't need gratuitous violence and sex appeal to enjoy a good wrestling show. I watch NXT. Is there a shit ton of violence on that show? No, very little. Is there a shit ton of sex appeal on that show? No, very little. The most sex appeal you get is the garter outfit that Asuka wears. That's it.
Do you know what the fans want right now? That's what they're hungry for. They want wrestling. They want good performances in the ring. They want to see new moves. They want to see a good performance from
What I think that the fans want more than anything, from my perspective, and you're not wrong, what the fans want are compelling characters that they should care about, storylines that are going to keep them on the edge of their seats, and most importantly, this third one, don't insult our intelligence because we're not stupid. Now, you be honest with me, Frank. Those three things I just named, compelling characters to care about, good storylines, and don't insult my intelligence, is that asking for much?
No, it's not. It should be what is already in the soup. That should be the three commandments right there.
And then everyone wonders why the fans behave the way they do. The fans behave the way they do because you've made it that way. I don't blame the audience for behaving the way they have the last couple of years. I blame the company for not having enough sense and, quite frankly, enough business sense to see the more satisfied customers you have, the more money you're going to make.
And, you know, these fans, us that we keep tuning in or we keep following, we are the 3 million fans that watch Raw or buy the network. We are still hanging in there. We keep, like idiots and mental patients, we keep going.
Well, see, me, I follow what I read. First of all, they don't get any money from me because I canceled my network subscription a while ago. My sister has the network because she's still a fan. She watches. I don't.
Yeah, but you know what it is? They throw you these shows every once in a while. They put them in there. These great, a very good Raw or a good few matches on pay-per-view, and they get your hopes back up again, and then the next night they sure as hell go back.
But see, the key is this, though, and this is something I try to let people understand when it comes to, when they talk about, oh, The Rock is coming back, so it'll be fine. No, one night of good business doesn't make up for an entire calendar year of bad business.
No, but not when you're going to get now 10. When you get 5 shows that suck in a row.
But anyways, I think that's going to do it for Frank and I tonight. We'll discuss WrestleMania 32 in greater length the next time we do a show. Hopefully, it will be the night of NXT TakeOver Dallas, which I will be hosting here. Maybe Frank and I could do a live show. Frank, would you be up for that?
I told you I'll be there.
Awesome. We're going to have Frank here for that. Hopefully, Frank will be here for WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, Frank, to be very honest with you, I think that my WWE main roster watching is going to be cut to just the big 4.
Just do it. Just tune into what you want to see, and don't force yourself. You don't have to watch everything.
Oh, I haven't been forcing myself. I'm not going to be watching Fastlane because I have no reason to watch. Why am I going to watch Fastlane? To watch Roman Reigns pin Dean Ambrose?
The only intriguing thing is whether they're gonna if somebody's gonna turn on each other, and maybe now we're gonna get to see AJ Styles versus Chris Jericho. That's the only thing I could watch.
Well, because I've seen them fight already. AJ
and Jericho.
Another thing, and you've mentioned this many times. They do these matches again and again and again, and then they wonder why people have no interest. But I also understand that Jericho and AJ Styles are in the middle of a series of matches right now, and I have no problem with that.
Jericho beat AJ this past week on SmackDown.
Oh, he did?
Yes, right. It's 1-1. It's 1-1. So now, do you know how they do it? They do the best of 3. So,
and I'll be honest with you, some fans are very hypocritical. They either say, Jericho's a jobber because he loses all the time. And I saw a couple people saying that he buried AJ Styles. Jericho doesn't do that type of shit.
No, he's there.
Don't get me wrong. Jericho is a shill because he denies that the WWE sabotages their talent, because they do.
He has to.
But he doesn't bury talent. Come on now, please.
James, he has to say that. All these guys have to say it, that they want to keep their jobs. It's like you at
They are taught to put the best possible spin on a bad situation. Always has been that way, always will be.
If anything they say negatively, they'll get fucking fried for it.
You don't believe us? Just look at Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, or Titus.
Oh, God. I'm not even going to waste a minute on that pettiness.
I think, you know what I think that was? That was a subconscious reaction of, hey, Vince, look at me. Pay attention to me. That's what it was. It was like he was trying to get Vince's attention. I think that's what it was.
No, this is the same Vince McMahon who made Trish Stratus crawl on all 4s and made fun of JR's Bell's palsy, but Titus O'Neil grabbing him warrants a 90-day suspension and missing a WrestleMania payday. I don't need to hear any of this nonsense, but I think that's going to do it for Frank and I. We appreciate you guys tuning in. This was our first Google Hangout. Hopefully it wasn't too horrifying.
We'll get
Frank, I know I had fun.
We'll get Nick on next time.
Yeah, we got to get Durst on here soon. Hopefully maybe we can get Perkins on here.
Yeah,
Eve on here. Hey, listen, Frank and I welcome any and all comers that are going to be respectful and have a good discussion with us.
Yeah, this is the first time. As a matter of fact, it took a few minutes to get all the kinks worked out because we didn't know what we were doing. This is our first.
No, we didn't know. Me and Frank honestly didn't know what the hell we were doing with this whole Google Hangout thing, but I think it ended up working out just fine.
It's not that hard. It's not brain science. It's just a matter of going through it. That's all.
You guys all have a good weekend. Enjoy your Valentine's Day with your sweethearts or what have you. And it's going to be cold out there. They're talking about below like 18 degrees below zero for tomorrow, for February 14th. So you guys all stay safe, be careful, and you guys take care.